important as it is to include students with disabilities in classes and activities with their non-disabled peers, there's something that is even more important before getting to that point. So many times, what keeps children with physical impairments from learning is not just a result of isolation, but of not having physical access to the school buildings as their peers do. Granted, all of this is something that most people barely even register, much less think about unless they or someone in their family has some kind of disability. I belong in the former category. I was born 3 months early, which resulted in cerebral palsy and affects my mobility. A lifelong resident of Lexington, I was sent to Mansfield City Schools from kindergarten through the 8th grade because Lexington, although it was my home district, was not accessible. Yet this so-called accessibility in Mansfield proved itself to be lacking when I was enrolled in Malabar Middle School from 1996 through 1998. Although the building was legally bound to be accessible, it wasn't. The designated entrance that I was told to use by the school's administration had no door handles on the outside. This meant that early every morning, in all weather conditions, I would have to stand outside and bang on the door until someone heard me and decided to let me in. Once I made it indoors, my wheelchair, which I kept at school for use around the building, couldn't fit inside the classrooms because the door frames were too narrow. I would have to park my wheelchair outside of the classroom and gather up my belongings to walk inside with them. Changing floors was a different matter altogether. There was an elevator for the use of students with disabilities, but it was very old and rickety, unsafe to the point where it would often get stuck between floors. It was for these reasons that students were not allowed to ride it alone. Yet, because I had been enrolled in all regular classes, I was not allowed to have an accompanying aide. I was given a key, but all this meant was that I spent a lot of my time stuck alone in the contraption. These were not the only problems I encountered, and everything became so difficult for me to navigate that halfway through the 8th grade, I was withdrawn from school by my doctor's orders. My family and I brought all of this to the district's attention, with a lawyer's prodding, and we were assured that everything would be brought up to code. After that, I was asked to never return to Mansfield City Schools, and I had to finish my education in Lexington. I wish I could say that accessibility has improved in the now more than 10 years since I've been there, but it hasn't. And so I ask you, how can every child be educated if they can't even have equal access to the building?